Well, we've had a wonderful tour of the Opera House, and we're on our way out now. Eventually, we're going to still hope to get up to this Centerpoint Tower. Hopefully there'll be enough time. And we're going to go down to pick out a Christmas ornament. There's a Christmas ornament shop.
Is this supposed to be or is that just... No, they're just wood folk.
There's so many. The colors are just fabulous.
Beautiful.
Just beautiful. I like that dark blue. This one is how much? This one is
This one is $5.20.
only $520. Yes. Okay, we've just ridden the train from Circular Quay up to Wynyard Station, right where our hotel is. Okay, now we're taking and have our touring. I think we've given you a view outside at this Wynyard Travelodge. And eventually we're going to get up and see this tower, I hope. Maybe we'll have supper in there tonight. It's not really very but we'll have a focus in there. And the Travelodge chain in Australia version than the United States. It's a pretty classy place. We had a really wonderful buffet breakfast there yesterday. We've had this is a view inside, and each night they're celebrating. That's where we have tonight's going to be French. It's not laid out yet. This is lunch, late lunch. I don't know. We may have dinner up in the tower. Tonight, possibly, I don't know. Depends on if we eat outside at the hotel. And Michelle's waiting for me. Let's for the one night we're to the subways, and there's quite a lot of good. Nice thing that they have in the subway, which we utilize. We're going to look for some biscuits. Best we remember, there was some a biscuit factory. And look at that one side. Wow, that is really bright. You really have it. Whoops. Very colorful. Ah, good. Now we can get some biscuits. Mrs. Fields biscuits. Ah, well, they even call it. Boy, I don't know. It's Rocky. Here's a. Ah, what a. Is here in we're on Tuesday, but you folks. Okay, as you can see, it's observatories.
Scorpio is right dead center in the middle of our sky. The greater and lesser, you get a very clear night or a very dark night. I wouldn't sort of put any money to it. And on the back is all the rising times of the planets, which we're moving in ecliptic. And of course, you hold that above your head. So that's set for 9:30 at night tonight. Where else?
No, in fact, today's our last day.
Stars tonight. Oh.
But it was nice
It's a shame
to get a map.
Right, I mean that's just a general viewing map. You can get stronger ones than that, but that's what we really want.
Okay, what? Oh, it'll eventually hit it. You want up there, but explain it to us. Sit in the biscuit from Mrs. Fields, right? When you stick your arms out, your
Oh yeah, I've seen these before.
what world is that in?
Cornflakes were in the song.
How much? Okay, go ahead.
Hole in one.
There you go. Well, we're in the dome, telescope. This was open. Okay, go ahead and flash. Let's see what we get. You have to look quick now. In a minute, we're going down.
This one here. Yeah.
Is there currently a lot of sunspot?
Yeah, it's a bit quieting down. Yeah. There's some eruptions coming off it as well. Maybe not now because the clouds are just coming over. Which one is that movie? So,
I feel like for a moment.
again, just swing around a little. We're looking at it. Let's hollow this in a little light.
Before, and claimed to be Alda's hotel on Sydney.
Well, that's a good shot of the bridge. But I sure can too quick, can I? We looked down this when we were up there. We couldn't figure out how to get on the bridge. No, we didn't do this. Oh, this gets back there quick, doesn't it?
Pier 1 is a stop in Pier 1 from my Wharf building. There is waterfront restaurants, entertainment, pubs, souvenir shops. This is Pier 1 stop. Pier 1. Rolling on the Harbour Beach. It's 134 meters above sea level. Was opened 1932 and cost £10 million. Was the first import. Today there is a from coming up the Rocks Visitor Center stop and holding till 5 o'clock. Harbour circular game buses. Today many groups then take up to Garth.
Right, you've got the big bronze train representing Sydney and Portsmouth in southern England. Portsmouth, Sydney, the identity of Portsmouth. Sydney's sister city. Inside the cap rank, our page was opened in 1982.
Oh, look at that.
An old Sydney tram, $1 million to build. The money came from to build it today. I reckon it'll cost you well over $1 billion. The opera house. Stop number 2. This is number 2. Into the daylight. Mason is the old void. If you're ever going to pick up a cruise vessel at the Man of War steps, here they are at the Opera House on our left hand side. As we swing around, if you look out the right hand side of the bus, over on the North Shore, amongst the trees, that's Killibilly House over there on the North Shore. Killibilly House being the Prime Minister's official Sydney indiscreet. He'd fallen into the south and southwest. Come across a Macquarie Township. Port Macquarie up in, it's about 200 miles north of Sydney after him, and I'm not sure, but I think you'll see. He didn't go there by land. Macquarie's contribution, he's responsible for a good number of buildings here in the city. There's 5 Macquarie buildings on Macquarie Street, and I picked them out as we come to it. Macquarie buildings, 1821, by the convict architect Francis Greenway. It was the State Governor's residence. In 19 into the Conservatorium, which it still is. Buildings on our left. On our right, the old sick part of the Intercontinental Hotel, and across the old Colonial Secretary's office. They're about 60 years younger than the Conservatorium. I've forgotten what they're for, but I've forgotten what he was sent out here. When Macquarie found he had a put into very good use, designed buildings, Macquarie's work. Stop number 4, the Royal Botanic Gardens with its exotic plants, etc. Stop number 4. On our left, on the other side of the intersection, the Public Library of New South Wales, the state's main library. Not just books in there, you will be surprised what you'll find in there. One thing is hands-on computers. There's quite often an exhibition in at the library. Some of the exhibitions are free of charge, some you have to pay for. Park Barracks, the 4th Macquarie building. Directly ahead of us, Hyde Park North with the Archibald Fountain in the middle of the park. The 5th and last Macquarie building, Sydney's oldest church, St James Church. Built most of those were canvas, and when they put up something of brick or sandstone, the canvas church would either be pulled down and moved to another location, or used for something entirely different. Has been an era. If you go into the barracks first, you can buy a combined ticket for the Mint, and you will get a discount off of that ticket by showing the Sydney Explorer ticket for that day, or the Sydney Pass covering that day.
What church that is?
By the way, all our museums and galleries, etc., close up at 5 o'clock. But we just entered the Royal Botanic Gardens. This part of the gardens is known as the Domain. Here on our expressway, offices, shops and heaven knows what else. Beyond them you'll find a glass pyramid with the exotic plants in it, the ones that can't put up in a tropical rainforest. Close up between 4 o'clock and 5 a.m. The gates are depending on what the range of TV programme, the later the gates get closed. This part of the gates chair, while Governor Macquarie was away, opened down here to the point of Sydney Harbour. And what we are, in those days Sydney Harbour was pure bushland in all directions. Number 6.
Hard to
Take any photographs. I will sit here for about 5.
This is the other side of the Opera House. Okay, that's where we're headed, to just about where that tower is. That's where Queen Victoria's building is. And we better jump back on the bus before the bus leaves. This is what we're riding right now. For $15 a day you can ride these all over. And we're getting a tape flashing sign in our viewfinder, which means that it's time to put in a new tape. Here she comes. She's staying behind the tree so she won't get shot. I saw that.
Of the First Fleet.
That's the green and cream ones. They're named after ships of the First Fleet. Oh.
But the building itself, that one is open 24 hours a day. Yeah, so if you just want to go in and that window shop and you have to go around, you can leave that until one or two of the last on the agenda because it is open 24 hours a day. Yeah, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year.
And we're in the Royal Botanical Gardens, looking at the Opera House.
Got everybody back on board? We're not missing anybody, are we? Mum hasn't got rid of Dad. Over on the North Shore, amongst the trees, a large house over there is Killibilly House, the Prime Minister's official Sydney residence. The smaller house is Admiralty House, the Governor General's official Sydney residence. In the middle of the harbour you'll find Port Denison is its correct name, Pinchgut its nickname. Where the buildings are, amongst the trees on the North Shore, Taronga Park Zoo. If you go over to Taronga Park Zoo, take a word of advice, take the bus up to the top gates and walk down the hill to the bottom gates. The hill's a lot steeper than what it looks. Over in Garden Island Dockyard, 03, the Adelaide. Went out to the Gulf and it started the troubles out there and stood off of the Gulf during the blockade on Iraq. 1191, the US vessel, I think it's the Raccoon, I think that's how they call it. Between that American vessel and the Adelaide, you'll find on the other side of the dock, behind the crane, the remains of the Onslow, one of our submarines. She came in for a refit about 18 odd months ago, possibly longer. She still isn't back in the water. They might finish it one of these fine days and give us all a surprise. It should have been back in the water at least before last Christmas. They're way overdue and over budget on it. 49, the Derwent. 41, the Brisbane. The GT203, the Jarvis Bay. When the Adelaide and its sister ship, the Darwin, came back to Sydney, or left the Gulf to come back to Sydney, it was replaced up there in the Gulf with the Brisbane and another sister ship to the Adelaide, the Sydney itself. During the actual Gulf War, the Brisbane over there stood off at the side of one of the American carriers in case it was fired at with one of the guided missiles. Did a lot of work, as you can imagine, seeing as they were down in the Gulf and not up in around Israel. The Jarvis Bay, on the other side of Finger Wharf in the middle of Woolloomooloo Bay, that started off its life as a car ferry. It used to run from Sydney down to the island of Tasmania. I've forgotten which port it used to go down there. But the ferry line was run by the federal government. The only thing wrong with it was that they were more on strike than what they were working. The government got so fed up with them going out on strike, they shut the ferry down, handed the vessels over to the RAN, and that's how a car ferry got into the Royal Australian Navy. That wharf, there on our left, is eaten away by the termites at White Hen. A group of businessmen got the government out of a tricky situation. The government was going to pull it down. They wanted it saved along with a load of protesters. They wanted to turn it into a hotel, offices and shops, etc. But they took it over from the government, and since then nothing's been done on it. Stop number 7, the Art Gallery of New South Wales. It's also the home of the Mutant Ninja Turtles. In there you'll find Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo and Leonardo. Guess who watches the children's program on TV? The decent programs. Stop number 7, the Art Gallery of New South Wales. As we leave the Domain, directly ahead of us, the Gothic style sandstone church, the state's main Catholic church, St Mary's Cathedral. They started building St Mary's in the late 1860s on the site of a wooden church that had burnt down. The remains of the wooden church is still on the eastern side of the cathedral. Ahead of us, Hyde Park North, the Archibald Fountain. I've got hiccups. The Archibald Fountain, and this time 1,000 feet above the treetops of Hyde Park North, Centre Point Sydney Tower. The tower is the 6th tallest tower in the world, the tallest tower in the Southern Hemisphere. At the top of it, you will find an observation deck plus restaurants. As far as I know, the tower is open until 9 o'clock of the night time. If you show your Sydney Pass, Sydney Explorer ticket for today in there, they will also give you a little bit of a rebate off of the price they charge to get up to the observation deck. There's only 3 park places on our run that does that. Sydney Tower, Hyde Park Barracks and Elizabeth Bay House. Well, we're now down on William Street. Not this first set of traffic lights, but the second set of traffic lights. That's the Crown Street, William Street intersection. In Crown Street, about 100 metres up, on our right hand side, you'll find the Hard Rock Cafe. You can use the Budget Rent-A-Car office as a landmark over there. It's on the corner of Crown and William. Well, we're now starting to climb up into the infamous and the notorious red light district of Sydney, King. The Cross is a part of Sydney that never sleeps, never closes. The quiet time of the day is during the daylight hours. And once the sun has come on, that's when the Cross really comes alive, and it keeps on going right the way through the night to the early hours of the following morning. I used to liken King's Cross to London Soho and New York's Times Square. I've never been to Times Square, but believe you me, London Soho, when I used to frequent it of a night time, was a lot worse than King's Cross. It's also a lot bigger. It was a square mile. Shady little joints and heaven knows what else. Stop number 8, the infamous and the notorious red light district of Sydney, King's Cross. Stop number 8. Behave yourselves up here. I'm still the pub. Stop number 8.
Oh, there you go.
Coming up on our right hand side, the El Alamein Fountain. The fountain's named after the famous North African battle of World War II. It's to commemorate the boys that died in that battle. Stop number 9, the Clay Street and the El Alamein Fountain. Stop number 9. You'll find just after 5 o'clock this afternoon, the Sydney Explorers stop coming around to the next stop, stop number 10. The next left-hand corner is my favourite left-hand corner. It's where I can get my revenge if any passenger upsets me. As you can feel, the bus leans over quite a bit on the corner. All I have to do is come around there a little bit past. All the passengers on the left-hand side of the bus will suddenly end up on the right-hand side of the bus without leaving their seats. Revenge. The gardens on our left, they're all that remain of the gardens of Maclay's Elizabeth Bay House. When he built the house in 1835, Clay had approximately 50 acres of gardens. They stretch from the street named after him right the way down to the water's edge of Elizabeth Bay itself. They should be closing up the doors around about now if they haven't already done so. Yes, they're closed. Stop number 10, with its $1 million view down to Sydney Harbour to the Sydney Heads, Maclay's Elizabeth Bay House. As I say, that view down to harbour, if you were to buy a property around here, that view would add at least $1 million onto it, and that would be a very conservative figure. Stop number 10, Maclay's Elizabeth Bay House. Tomorrow afternoon you'll most probably find quite a few sailing vessels in the harbour there. And of course when that's on, that makes for the view, that adds money onto the value of your properties around here. Stop number 11, Potts Point, stop number 11.
That's the Sheraton? Why? That's not very fancy, is it?
Stop number 11. Potts Point has lost a lot of its charm, its character. 10 to 15 years ago, the developers got their way around here. They pulled down quite a few of the older buildings. The buildings they replaced them with just didn't have the same charm and character as the buildings they pulled down. They might get it in another 100 years' time, but at the moment, no. Number 49, behind number 41, or in front, nose to nose, put it that way, with the Brisbane, number 41, which is in front of 38, the Perth, which is in front of GT 203, the old car ferry, the Jarvis Bay. Where all this traffic is parked up, that's where you'll find one of Sydney's most heated wheels. The menu there is pies, pies, pies and more pies. Stop number 12, Woolloomooloo Bay, stop number 12. That wharf there in Woolloomooloo Bay, Finger Wharf, I wouldn't walk on it, let alone take anything like a bus on it. I wouldn't think that even if you took a bus on it, I think you'd find a bus or end up in the middle of Woolloomooloo Bay itself. It's eaten away that amount with the the white ant, the termites. That building over by the Sydney Exhibition Centre in Darling Harbour. I suppose the squatters are on it one of these fine days or set fire to it and they won't be able to save it. Of course there's no squatters on it at the moment.
true. Every time I'm sitting on.
Chinese restaurants in all of Australia. You'll also come across a few that aren't too hot as well. Now please don't ask me which ones are which. I happen to live up in the Blue Mountains, about 100 kilometres outside Sydney. I only come down here to work.
What'd you think of the
Okay.
snow yesterday?
No, not quite.
Weren't you there for the snow?
No, it didn't snow yesterday, even though one of the TV stations said it did.
We saw it.
We were on the bus and it snowed on us at noon.
It didn't stick to
Well,
the
it
ground or
didn't
anything.
settle then.
Oh no, it didn't settle now.
We're from the desert, so it was snow.
On our right is Dixon Street, the main street of Chinatown. As I say, I don't get down here very often, especially to eat, and if I tried to tell you which restaurants to eat in, I'd have to do it by trial and error. I just wouldn't have the foggiest idea which ones are the good ones, which aren't. I can say this, that restaurant on our left does happen to be not one of our better Chinese restaurants. Stop number 16, the Sydney Entertainment Centre in Chinatown. Where have I seen that restaurant before?
I don't know. Where does the monorail go?
Around a circle, into the city and back out to Darling Harbour. It's a very rough circle trip. Well, in the small street on our left-hand side here, there you'll find the pump house amongst the pumping equipment. If you'd like to go in and have a look at it all, you just go in.
Very, very modern. We finally made it to the Queen Victoria building.
Now this is shopping.
This is shopping, she says. Appreciate this. You can't really, video just doesn't do it. You've got the floors and beautiful ceilings, all kinds of shops. Unfortunately here, we're getting here so late that a lot of the shops are closing. Looking at, and as you turn and look, you can see Michelle's image in there. There's, I mean, it looks, well, it looks very three-dimensional when you're looking at it in person. As you walk around the picture, see, it's still there. Of course, we'll lose it when you, but the best thing is when the light's right on it. Well, we're finally going to make it up today. Some nighttime views, I guess. I don't know where you get into the tower, but on the Eiffel Tower, and the Sydney Tower is almost as high, although the actual it's mostly just antenna that makes it up the difference. Of course, now as we move along here, you can see that the Empire State Building is higher, and the Moscow Tower is higher, and the Toronto Tower is the highest of all. And this is a 1963 Mazda Coupe, little tiny thing. Okay, our little elevator is coming down. Pretty soon we're going to be on that.
I've seen a lot of people going downstairs.
Moving very slow. Okay, there's our hotel at the Travel Lodge, which is located right by the Qantas building. And then, of course, there's the bridge. And there's the Opera House down there. We're going to miss tonight's opera, Fidelio. What a view. Tremendous view up here. Just tremendous. It's looking straight down to the street. Quite a ways down. Sydney is the second largest city in the world. A little bit better perspective of the Opera House. Of course, we're getting some double reflections in this glass. Sydney Harbor. Sydney Cove, I guess. Sydney is a beautiful city, day or night. And there's the Hilton Hotel. Looks like we're still having a little bit of Sydney rush hour traffic here. People scurrying to get home. A little bit of shades of LA, all those brake lights. But by and large, traffic seems to move along pretty well in Sydney. Of course, not everyone travels in there. The bus driver did make a comment saying, well, like any other major city, the big problem, the big reason for the traffic, the one person in each car. And it looks like we've gone all the way around again, because here we are at the Qantas headquarters. At the time that we're visiting here, Qantas has a big major strike going with the baggage handlers. Baggage handlers are on strike. Hope that doesn't fill up the note on it tomorrow. And of course, that's where we're staying there on the 10th floor. So we're on the 10th floor, just about right there. Looks like they're doing some crane work at night over here. We're on a building near the opera. Thing about it, the hotel where we're staying at, the Travelodge, is very centrally located. Right here at the Travelodge, okay, down here. And then just up the street is the train station right there. There's the Wynyard train station. And of course from there you can go anywhere. And then that's very close to Circular Quay, is of course right across from the bridge. Right down that area in the rocks, that building's actually behind that building. So it's really monorail. And we're headed for Darling Harbor. Almost like we're flying, isn't it? Ooh, there we go. We're not going to get much of a view while we're on the bridge, though. Oh, we might. There's the aquarium that we're not going to get to see. Harbor. Exploring some of the shops. Isn't that pretty? Dinner at Bobby McGee's, and one of the waitresses like Robin, the Batman's Robin. Okay.
Here's our waiter.
And here's our waiter.
Fill your cabin. I was on
Hall Station. Okay. This is really strange decor, this Bobby McGee's. They really have a lot of neat stuff in here. And there he is. Okay, it's 12:20 Wednesday in Sydney, and somehow or another we're going to get our lost day back at long last. And we're going to be sitting right over there. Oh, we're on the upper deck, Flight 74. We're supposed to leave here at 12:45. I don't think we're going to make it the next 3 minutes. Here in Sydney, it's 12:45 Wednesday. And back where you folks are, it's Tuesday night, 7:43 p.m. Well, we're getting out of here just a few minutes late. 10 or 11 minutes late on a 13-hour flight, I guess isn't too bad.
portion of our flight will be over water. In the event of an overwater evacuation, each door except those located over the wings to the upper deck is equipped with an escape slide that may...
I believe that winglet is 6 foot high, but it is. Put it on the size, its size is deceiving. I've got it in Las Vegas time though. I can't get used to this time business, you know? It's just yeah. You just don't know. Have you been to any other cities like Melbourne or Perth where you don't have time to do it? dark outside. Very dark. Hobby, and I think now they're going to try to sell us some duty free. They're going to have a big commercial for duty free. We'll just continue playing our sunrise here. Don't know exactly where we are. We've been flying for over 10 hours now. And we're beginning to get just the beginning of sunrise. Absolutely do not know where they stow all the food on this flight, but we're eating again. Oh, we see land. Idea how many meals you've served? Just on this for Dream.
How many cups of coffee?
I mean, you served more on this trip than you did like maybe in a month with Aladdin service. You know, I think it's. We're lucky we got on there, aren't we?
Well, it's downstairs. We're talking about.
You know, Michelle, I'm glad we're going to Hawaii. The weather stinks here. They wouldn't be good
Well, I'll
beach
tell you
weather
what,
at all.
I'm frozen